What is this thing I found buried amongst my late grandmother's kitchen utensils? Around 6 inches long and 1.5 inches at its widest point. It's old, I'm guessing from the 60s, and no maker's mark. I can't for the life of me tell what it does. It was at the back of the drawer underneath countless other kitchen gadgets. I'd be really interested to know what this is or what it's used for. It's a broken knife sharpener. It was patented on March 4th, 1930 by Fred Pass of Chicago, Illinois. It's actually a combination glass cutter, knife and scissors sharpener, and for sharpening mower blades. Simply hold the tool on a table at an angle of 45 degrees, place the knife in either slot, and draw lightly toward you 3 or 4 times from heel to point. I also have one of those buried in one of my toolboxes. What is this mechanical device with a crank and numerous metal discs on pegs mounted to a wooden plaque? It was found in my boyfriend's attic. The discs have differing patterns of ratchet teeth and are numbered. I'm very curious to learn what this thing is. It's a Diaphone horn control box, a control box for the whistle, missing the box part. It was patented as multiple signal transmitter on May 5th, 1903 by George E. King of Newton, Massachusetts for the Gamewell Fire Alarm Telegraph Company of New York, New York. The cogs got inserted into the mechanism and would blow different signals. A diaphone is a noise-making device best known for its use as a foghorn. They were also used at some fire stations and in other situations where a loud, audible signal was required. The diaphone warning horn is powered by pressured air, and most reports say they can be heard about 6 miles with optimal conditions like terrain, tall buildings, and atmospheric conditions. What is this, some type of grinder? I bought this at a garage sale thinking it was a peanut grinder, but peanuts won't fit into the grinding part, and peppercorns don't really work either. There is a pat pen on the side, but there are no numbers I can find to look up. I have something like this from my grandmother that I use for peanuts, but the grind mechanism is just a bit different from this thing. Any ideas? It's a nutmeg grinder from the 1950s. Here's a similar one on eBay, also with the same grind mechanism. The grinding mechanism with a flat lid screws onto the clear glass jar. What is this light metal object a little longer than my hand, with 2 half tubes of angles at the top and an open little trough at the bottom? It has a little spot to hang out on a wall. Any ideas on what this could be? It's a wall-mounted tin match holder from the early 20th century. The thing to the left is a strike plate, and the trough is for the used matches. There are 2 holes so it can be securely secured to a wall. My grandmother had one in her kitchen. What is this memorial erected by a local veterans organization at Fox River Grove, Illinois post office? From inscriptions, the piece was manufactured in 1918 by Hadfields Limited in Sheffield, UK. The 3 black links appear to be hand-adjustable for azimuth and elevation. The scale on the unrifled barrel reads right degrees and left, which would make sense if there were a missing fixed indicator. It seems much too light to be a gun, and there's no recoil mechanism. Was there such a thing as a fixed position mortar? And if so, why? It's a Newton 6-inch mortar. It was the standard British medium mortar in World War I, from early 1917 onwards. It was a simple smoothbore muzzle-loading mortar consisting of a 57-inch one-piece steel tube barrel with a striker stud inside the center of the closed base of the tube. The rounded external base of the tube sat in a socket in the flat cast steel base, which in turn sat on a wooden platform. But kind of a mystery how it got there. Wikipedia indicates there's a surviving example in a museum in Tennessee, with the comment that they don't know how it got there. What is this cone-shaped piece made of bronze and glass faceted I found in a mid-coast maritime museum? It has a conical piece that fits over the glass, and this piece has a cutout slot that is smaller than one of the facets. The glass is thick, it has 6 faceted sides, and has a flange that has screw holes beneath. I happen to have a ruler to show its size. Any ideas? It's a Skylight binnacle, a slightly beat-up cover to a yacht compass. This would protect the compass and could be illuminated at night. The brass covering protects the glass during rough weather, but provides a little window to still see the course. It was invented by Wilfred O. White in 1931 and received his US patent in 1935. Binnacles such as these became very popular starting in the 1920s. Their popularity may have increased after one was seen aboard the motor vessel Santana in the movie Key Largo in 1948, starring Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. What is this small glass jar with a tiny hole in the lid I found in the dirt in my yard? It's roughly 2 inches tall and maybe a ½ inch in diameter. There is a small bump on one side of the lid and a small hole on the other. Any idea what it would have been used for? It's a Johnson & Johnson glass dental floss dispenser from the 1930s to the 40s. The floss can be drawn through the hole in the lid and use the perforation to cut. What is this heavy metal rusty red appliance with Miracle branding I found outside a home I just moved into? Easily over 100 pounds, it has a power cord and attached arm on the left side that is adjustable. It measures about 16 inches tall, 20 inches wide, and 16 inches deep. Untested if it works or not, as I'm not sure what it's supposed to do. I googled the Miracle brand, which leads me to believe it is some sort of old appliance of some kind. Does anyone have any idea what it is? It's a 1970s paint can shaker. Here's one without the housing. It was made by the Miracle Paint Rejuvenator Company of St. Paul, Minnesota. It was designed with a single-axis rocking motion to provide a thorough and efficient mix. The secure clamping system will accommodate pint, quart, and 1-gallon containers. What is this yellow-handled knife found in Ohio car mechanic's garage? A co-worker was recently shipped this thing by his 80 to 90-year-old grandparents, thinking he would know what it is. The owner was a car mechanic by trade, but was also handy with all types of projects. The blade is beveled on both sides, and the wording says Western. All of the holes in the blade are pretty rusty, but the blade itself is pretty clean, and the wood handle is very light, probably pine. The tape feels like some type of cloth tape and looks like it was added later. Any ideas? Please tell us down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.